Yeah, good morning, students. So we'll continue module 4. The next topic is media access control. So we are dealing with data link layer into two sublayers, that is data link control and multiple access resolution. So we'll see what does data link control deals with and what or when do you require your multiple access resolution. So your data link layer is divided into two sublayers. The upper layer, that is your data link control, and your multiple access resolution. So upper layer will deal with all your flow control, error control. So this is also called as your logical link control. The lower layer is required for all the address issues or how it has to be, how network will be able to transmit the data using different protocols. So when a node is connected by an multiple nodes, you have to decide what is the type of the link that you are trying to access, whether it is unicast or broadcast, followed by what is the multiple access protocol that can be used, can be discussed in your multiple access resolution. So there are many algorithms in multiple access resolution which helps you to know how a host can be connected into different hosts using the multi-point access, followed by many formal protocols are there in order to handle the shared link access. So that will be explained in multiple access resolution, whereas your data link control deals with only your flow or error control. So your data link control is also called as logical link control, and this is also called as MAC, that is your MAC layer, that is media access control. So it can also be termed as MAC layer. This can be termed as logical link control. So in multiple access protocol, it can be broadly divided into random access protocol, controlled access protocol, and channelization protocol. So in random access protocol, there are few protocols or algorithms. Even here in your controlled access protocol, you have 3 types. In channelization, you have frequency division, time division, and code division multiplexing. Here you have Aloha, CSMA, CSMA CD, and CSMA CA. So we'll start with random access. So what do you mean by the term random? So random is there is no fixed stations. So suppose you have assumed that you have 4 to 5 nodes which are connected to network. So here from now onwards, we will term the host or device as station. So there can be n number of stations. So each of them want to communicate. That is, they want to either send data or receive data. So in this case, how can you decide? For example, in our case, in our network, we have 5 devices, say device 1 to device 5. So how will you decide which should start transmission of data? That is, which is sender, which is receiver. So in order to decide all this, there are certain protocols which say which particular station has to send data and what other host or station should receive data. So in random access, actually it is also called as contention method. So here there is no superior station, that is the priority of all stations are same and no station can gain control over other or it can control the other stations. So no station permits or it does not permits to send or receive data. So in random access, what happens is in each instance, so the station has to either send data or receive data, and the decision is taken based upon two states. That is whether the state is ideal condition or busy condition. So there are basically two states, ideal and busy. So ideal state is one where nodes are either, they are neither sending the data nor receiving the data. If a station is in busy state, it means either it is receiving the data or it is sending the data. So there are two states, ideal state and busy state. Based upon the states, you can decide which particular system can take the access. So there is no time that is scheduled in order to transmit the data in your random access. Randomly, one of the station can take up sending the data, the others will receive data. There is no particular rule to specify which is the next station that can take up the priority. So all of them have same priority in this particular random access protocols. So what happens, basically all your stations will compete with each other in order to gain the access. So here station compete with one another to access the medium. That is why this is also called as contention methods. So this is about your random access. So in random access, there are many algorithms. The first algorithm or protocol is Aloha. Aloha was the first protocol which was designed for earliest random access method from University of Hawaii in 1970. It was used for radio communications or your wireless LAN. So your Aloha is a shared medium. So how your data can be transmitted through your shared medium is defined. In Aloha, the first type is pure Aloha. So assume that, yeah, look at this diagram. Here you have 4 host or devices or stations. So here basically we have 4 stations and each of them are trying to send a frame over a particular time period. So here frame 1.1, 1.2 is sent by station 1. Similarly, 2.1, 2.2, 3.1, 3.2, 4.1, 4.2 is sent by their respective stations. Here all 4 stations are contended and they will compete against each other to send the data. Here station 1 has already sent frame 1.1. See what you can observe. So only frame 1.1 from station 1 and frame 3.2 receiver. Others, due to the contention of data, there is no specific time where the data has to be sent, or there is no other algorithm in order to control the frames. It has resulted in collision, right? See, the frames are collided. So at this particular instance of time, this frame is collided with the other frames which are there in this particular timeline. Similarly, frame 2.2 and 4.2 have collided. So here there are 4 stations that contended with each other for getting the access for this shared channel. So only station number 1 with frame 1.1 and station number 3 with frame 3.2 can send the data and it has reached the intended station. The rest of them have resulted in collision. So the next step is how should we avoid the collision, or you will have acknowledgement. So in your pure Aloha, it basically depends upon the acknowledgement that you receive from the destination end. So based upon that, this will come to know, okay, only 1.1 and 3.2 have reached the destination. So your Aloha depends purely upon how the receiver gives the acknowledgement. When a frame is sent, if it receives acknowledgement, it means that the data is reached. If not, it will wait for a particular time period. And once that particular time period is elapsed, it assumes that the frame has not reached. So it will resend the whole frames again. So this can be well understood by this flow diagram. So you will start the transmission. Here a station has frame to send. So you have assumed a variable k, which is used to denote the number of attempts. So number of attempts specify how many times you are sending the data so that from your source to reach the destination. So you will start by initializing the value of k with 0 and you will start sending the frame. So once the frames are sent, you will wait for your timeout period. So your timeout period is 2 times your propagation time. 2 times TP means it is twice your propagation time. So it will wait till that particular time to check whether it has received the, it says it is success. So whatever transmission was done from source, it is success. If not, it will increment the number of attempts. Usually your K max or the number of attempts is 15. So each time you increment your value of K, you will check whether K is greater than K max. If it is greater than K max, you will abort. If not, you will choose a random number R in such a way that it is within the range 0 to 2 to the power of K minus 1, where K is the number of attempts. So 2 to the power of K minus 1. So it will choose a random value between this and wait for that particular, that is R into propagation time or R into your TFRS, average transmission time for the frame. So it will wait till that particular time and again it senses the network and try to send the frame. In between here, you have a time called vulnerable time. So vulnerable time is nothing but the length of time that a particular frame spends whenever there is collision. So whenever we say 2 or more packets have collided or there is collision between the data packets, it means that the amount of time that you spend in that collision or collision period is termed as vulnerable time. And here your TB is called as back off time. So what do you mean by back off time? The amount of time your data has to wait for the next transition is called as your back off time. So you will start with assuming K is equal to 0, you will start sensing the your medium. So based upon that, it contends and whichever station gets the access to the shared medium will start sending the frame. So after sending the frame, your sender station will wait for timeout period, that is usually twice the propagation time, and it waits there and checks whether it has received the acknowledgement. If it has received the acknowledgement, it says it is successful transmission of data. If not, it increments your number of attempts, that is value of K, and it will check whether this is greater than the K max. K max is usually assumed. Normally it is taken as 15 attempts. So if it is greater than this, it will abort. If not, it will choose a random number R between the range 0 to 2 to the power of K minus 1 and wait for R into your propagation time or R into average transmission time of frame. Once this time is elapsed, it will again try to send the data. So this is how the data is being transmitted in your which protocol? Aloha. So as I said, the vulnerable time is the length of time in which there is possibility of collision. So when there is collision between the frames, the amount of time that particular frames spend during collision is called as your vulnerable time. To explain more about vulnerable time, we'll see this diagram. See here, Here station B has started sending the data, which is pure aloha, where at the end of the frame is collided with beginning of A. Similarly, end of A frame is collided with the data frame C. So here T is the time, that is your vulnerable time. So it has started from T minus TFR and ended with T plus TFR in the timeline. So this particular time, that is the distance or the length of time between T minus TFR and T plus TFR will be your vulnerable time. So it is clearly evident that vulnerable time is twice the time, average time for your frame, right? Average time required to transmit your frame. So vulnerable time is twice the frame time or frame transmission time. So for a pure aloha, vulnerable time is twice your transmission time for a particular frame. One more is throughput. So the throughput can be got from the formula G e to the power of minus 2G, sorry. So here G is the average number of frames that is generated. So when G value is half, the maximum throughput, that is your S max, can be 0.184. So this is about your S max. So next is slotted aloha. In pure aloha, the vulnerable time was twice the time taken to transmit your frame. This is because there was no rule defined like which station has to send or which station has to finish. So in your pure aloha, this was the some of the limitation, that is there is no particular rule to define this. Whereas in slotted aloha, this is an improved version of pure aloha, where in slotted aloha, each time is divided into different time slots, and then it forces the station to either send or receive only at the beginning of the time slot. So see here, in your slotted aloha, your total time is divided into different time slots. Here in your slotted aloha, one of the rules is you have to either send or receive the data only at the starting of the time frame, because this helps to synchronize your frames to the beginning of your timeline. So by this is evident that, see here, same frames has been sent. That is, you have 4 stations and each station are sending 2 frames. Here it is evident that frame 1.1, 2.2, 3.2 and 4.2 have reached the destination, whereas this particular frames have collided. That is, there is collision happened for this particular frames, and this duration, the collision duration, can also be called as vulnerable time. See here, what is the difference? Because station is allowed to send only at the beginning of synchronized time slot. If a station misses to send the data at that particular time, what it has to do? It has to wait until the, so what is happening here? So the transmission time is increased here, because if in case you are not able to synchronize with this particular time slot, for example 2.1 is not able to send the first bit from station 2 at this particular time, it has to wait till the next time slot, right? So this means station which has started or finished should wait until the next time slot if in case it misses the beginning of the time slot. So the vulnerable time, what happens to the vulnerable time? The vulnerable time is half of pure aloha, because there only 2 frames were able to reach the destination. Here, because of the synchronization in the time, the number of frames reaching the destination has increased. So here the vulnerable time is only TFR, that is transmission time required for the frame. See here. So here the collision will happen only if in this particular time slot, if you have more than one frame, right? But this will not collide with the previous frame. So the vulnerable time is only TFR. Whereas in your pure Aloha, it was twice of your transmission time for the frame. And to see about throughput, the throughput of the slotted Aloha is G e to the power of minus G, where G is number of frames transmitted in a particular amount of time. When G value is 1, why it is 1? Because it is with respect to a single slot. So for a single slot, the G value will be 1, and your S max, that is the maximum throughput, if you substitute in this, you will get it as 0.368. So this is your maximum throughput. I hope you are able to follow. Any doubts?